What happens when your life is moving forward, a career, a future, and then suddenly cancer? Today's guest, Shruti Sethi, was a thriving fashion designer at 34 when she was diagnosed with stage 3 lymphoma. She didn't smoke, she didn't drink, and thought she was doing everything right. But in the months that followed, she went on the most important deep dive of her life, asking not just how she got sick, but why. Her journey through chemotherapy, holistic nutrition, detox, yoga therapy, and emotional healing turned her pain into purpose. Now, as a certified holistic health and cancer coach, she helps people around the world understand the connection between food, movement, mindset, and disease, empowering them to rewrite their health stories from the inside out. This episode will challenge the way you think about stress, reconnect with your body, and reconsider the small habits that might be feeding or healing disease in your life. But before we dive into this episode, you already know what time it is. Vibe with me, y'all. Welcome to the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. Y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Empowered Plates, Empowered Lives podcast. It's your healthy habits and lifestyle coach Jovonnie here in the space where survival mode ends and your healing journey begins. So if you've been pushing through the pain, fatigue, bloating, or hormone chaos, I want you to know your body isn't broken. It's just speaking. Welcome to the Good Vibe Studio, Shruti.
Hey, nice. What a beautiful welcome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome,
Powerful.
Shruti. So your story begins with something so many listeners can relate to, doing all the right things and still getting sick. Can you take us back to the moment of your diagnosis and what made it a place where you needed to question what's really happening about your life?
Yeah. So there were so many questions. You said everything I was doing right as per normal standards, as we know. But when I got diagnosed back in 2016, it was Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it's a cancer of your immune system. So I didn't know what the heck is immune system. Anyways, after COVID, everybody knows that. But it was absolutely shocking for me to understand what goes behind cancer, how many years it takes, and it was very shocking for me to know that cancer happens. It, it stays in your body as dormant for 10 years, 12 years before it gets discovered. So I had this question in my mind: what was my body? Why was my doctors did not find out if there was something wrong in my immunity, and my body was always giving me certain signs and symptoms, but I did not take it seriously, or the doctors didn't take it seriously. So I was very, very angry. I was not accepting the fact that, how could this happen to me, and why did this happen to me? The whole question about why me, I'm the victim of all of this. I had to go through all that, and I guess every cancer patient goes through this, because it is not a easy disease, like any other disease we could say. A cancer is still very threatening to life, and you don't know what happens when you go through the treatments, etc. So of course, when you're young and when you go to the hospital and when you meet the doctors and you see all the people who are much, much, much more older than you, and everybody stares at you as if something's wrong with you, I was absolutely in that state that, oh my god, this, let me just run from here. I do not want to face it at all. So that was my state of mind that time, and I eventually slowly realize that I have to go through it, and the only way to win it is to accept it and understand, and let's just repair my immune system, repair my body, and give the body it needs. with proper nutrition, proper holistic strategies, along with whatever conventional treatments I decided to go with, because I would stage 3 and I did not want to lose anything else. So I understood that, chemotherapy is destructive no matter what. It is going to destroy the healthy cells. It is going to take care. I mean, my periods had stopped. There were hormonal changes. There were so many other changes in your bones, in your, even if you go through vaginal atrophy, you go through breast tenderness, there are so many symptoms you get. But the only way I decided to introduce holistic side of treatments was to not only take care of the side effects, but also to thrive it and not let cancer ever return. So when I decided to go with an integrative approach, I felt a relief. I felt, wow, why is this not told by the general practitioners, that introduce these vegetables, introduce these supplements, or do meditation or do any kind of breath work, which helps you and which gives you that confidence to go through the treatment. So it was such a eye opener for me that, wow, the doctors only think about treating it and not really healing you, which I had to do it by myself. And when I got tremendous good results. Like, I went through chemotherapy, but in 4 chemos, the cancer was absolutely gone, and I was so surprised that my body could heal in such a small span of time if you give it the love and the if you put some effort and really have faith in yourself, you could actually conquer, and it takes couple of days to heal. So then I stopped the treatments. I actually took the uh, battlefield. I mean, I took the stride and I decided that I'm not going to go through radiation or any other conventional treatments. I'm going to take a break and really work on myself, on my mindset, let go of the stress, let go of whatever was bothering me, and start fresh. And that's what I did. And it's been 8 years I'm living cancer free. And not only that, but I've helped so many cancer patients lead a normal life and being cancer free. So I think not only cancer gave me, it was challenging no matter what, but it also was very liberating in the fact that you take responsibility of your own health, and that transforms you in a way. So I'm pretty glad, and I'm pretty much actually very proud of the fact that I've come through so much and have gone through so much, and now it's given me hope, and it's given me some kind of purpose so that I can live happily and I can help others as well.
I thank you for breaking that all down and navigating us through that life changing event, Shruti, because I feel you. I'm gonna start at the end. I feel you on the purpose. I feel you on it being transformative, and I feel you on your health condition and issue being liberating. I feel the same way. Being diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and fibroids right before the pandemic. I was the last surgery before the pandemic took place, March of 2020. It really did change my life. It allowed me to truly not only transform my life, but it's now allowed me to help others transform their life. But I started to live with a deeper purpose, a purpose that wasn't already on the outside. It started on the inside. And it was a way that I really went on this journey of self-love and self-care that I had never been on before. And it's something that you talked about earlier, and when you said the normal standard, based on the normal standard, I thought I was doing enough to live and be okay without this chronic deep infiltration of inflammation and hormonal imbalance that was going on and was chaotic in my life that I had no idea was even happening or going on. And so I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about what were those signs that your body was showing you that you kind of ignored and the doctors kind of ignored. That was my first question that I had for you. But I just wanted to say that I love when you said if you just accept it, you can then win it. And that's another thing, not being in denial of what's actually truly happening in your body, in your life, what's going around, the relationships, the things that you're eating, the way you're managing or eliminating stress. All of that is going on, and it affects you, and you brought that into the light. But I love that you said if you can't win it unless you accept it. And you talked about the traditional way of the healthcare system, and it's truly treating over healing. And when you shift that mindset towards healing instead of treating, you really do build that confidence. But not only do you build that confidence, you create a whole new life for yourself, and a life that you feel good to lead, that breaks out of survival, and you now are starting to thrive. And who would have thought that a stage 3 cancer diagnosis, who would have thought a stage 4 endometriosis conqueror, adenomyosis, PCOS, who would have thought that those women in their 30s are now going to take something and it's going to change their life for the better, versus now they become a victim of their bodies. You know what I mean? And I think that was a
Yeah.
beautiful part of the story. And I'm so grateful that you were able to share that. But if you can, just kind of tell us some of those signs that was happening, and we'll go into the next segment.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. Day before yesterday, I went for my annual checkup, and nothing has changed. Like, if the normal symptoms, the doctor just ask you very basic things, but they do not go deeper into asking, as you said, how are your relationships? It's just like very cold sort of um questioning, are you depressed? I mean, who will say I'm depressed? Like, why would they say I'm depressed or I am anxious or anything? Or even if for example, you have certain inflammatory markers, they would not even run labs. If you are asking, say, if I'm having disturbed sleep, or I am having um I'm getting fever again and again, they will just run the basic labs to know the CBC panels, but not go deeper into your inflammation. So now for me, my basic parameters were always correct, but I was low on vitamin D. E- I was also getting fever now and then again. I was very prone to getting cold very frequently. I never woke up before 9 a.m. in the morning. I just couldn't wake up. I was always tired. But if you look at my symptoms, if you look at my blood work, everything was normal. But the doctors say, oh, you're okay, just go home and just relax, and that ways. But all of this, the inflammatory markers, the inflammation, the bloating was always there. And I had severe acne on my face. I also had PCOD, which I later found out when I got diagnosed with cancer, when they did a PET scan and everything. I also had fibroids, and I always was hormonally. I think I was always imbalanced. So all of these things were always going on since I was a teenager, but never even one doctor corrected it. All they were giving me injections and medications and etc. Even for my acne, no, nobody told me, oh, you give up this food or you take up this nutrition, etc. So it was like a chain breaker for me to understand what is the root cause. Like, you have to keep your optimal vitamin D levels in order to fight inflammation. In order for your hormones to be okay, you need to be like dairy, absolutely no sugar. I was a sugar baby. So I had when I did these makeshift changes in my diet and my nutrition, I automatically started feeling lighter. I slept well. I woke up on time. I added fiber in my diet. I let go of dairy and sugar and gluten, which was a revelation. I said, why didn't anybody tell me about this earlier? You feel as if you're absolutely new person, and you have so much energy. Oh my god, like, you could, even during chemo I had energy and I started working. So and the doctors were like, oh my god, you know, your vitals are also okay during chemo, what are you doing? They actually asked me, like my doctor, whenever I go to her, she always gives me takes my example in front of her patients, and also tells me to tell her about the dietary changes. So, and it's simple, like you just have to get educated. Of course, I worked with a lot of mentors. I had a lot of mentors during cancer, my physical, emotional, even nutrition wise, and it helped me because you know it. You get so much of knowledge. You're so confused during cancer, what to eat, what not to eat, how much of this quantity, what supplementations, because there is always miscommunication between your oncology team and the other. They just fight over things. But I had to research myself. All I want to say is, like, you know, people just look upon their doctors and do not even try to understand. They don't go out of their comfort zone. They think that this is it, but the real healing starts when you are out of your comfort zone. I think
That's
you
the
also
bar right there,
believe in
Shruti.
it.
Real
Yeah.
healing is outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. So that is very important to know that, you know, cancer is such a multifactorial thing, and only taking chemo and only going through conventional way is not the only way. You might be lucky, but you don't want the cancer and the disease to come, or you get secondary cancers or get secondary diseases because of that. In order to fix it, you have to go what's really deep, 7 layers deep inside your body, and understand, okay, why was my immune system not working efficiently? We have cancer cells every day, we produce it every day, every single person, every child, the day we are born. So why aren't our cytokines and K cells are functioning the way they should function? We should answer this question. We should understand the kind of environment, the stressors we are taking, and each to its own. So cancer can be devastating, yes, but it could also be a stepping stone. And for me, it was like, oh my god, I'm so healthier now, as if I was in my 20s or 30s. I feel alive, I feel energetic. You know, I'm 43, and it's so rewarding, the kind of journey I've had in the last 8 years.
And I'm so grateful that you're able to speak on that, Shruti. And I thank you for going over those signs with us. It was fever, it was low vitamin D, getting cold frequently, always tired, severe acne, PCOD, experienced fibroids, and you were experiencing these signs since you were a teen. One question that came to mind were you navigating the healthcare system here in the US or was it in India? Um, and so
It was
that
in
was
India. It was in India, but it's the same everywhere. I
and
feel.
that's what I wanted to make sure we knew, because sometimes, you know, when you have different guests navigating the healthcare system in different parts of the world, you want to see, are there some similarities, are there some differences, what does it look like when it comes to healthcare? And so I'm really grateful that you were able to break that down. I'm also glad that you were open enough to try some integrated practices within your treatments, doing supplements, meditation, breath work. And I like that you changed when it came to like your food and what were you eating. And you kind of talked about this before. You were like, am I feeding my cancer cells to grow or die? What did that shift in mindset look like for you day to day? Because when you grow up on the sugar, you grow up on the dairy, you grow up on the gluten, you're not used to that. It is outside of your comfort zone. It isn't a norm. And you have to navigate this new terrain, this new road that you're traveling. What did that mindset look like for you every single day?
Oh my God. Initially, it was so difficult because coming from a vegetarian background, dairy was everything for us. Like, you understand, oh, it's protein. Where will I get my calcium? Where will I get my proteins from? I can't survive without my cheese. I can't survive without my milk. So it was very difficult. I would not lie to you. It is like, oh my God, I don't know how am I going to cook things. And I went whole plant based. Like, I didn't even use oils for that matter. It was a
What?
big change. It was a big change for me. But you know what? I took small steps at a time. Firstly, I educated myself about different vegetables, the different nutrients which my body really needs at the time of such a critical stage of my life with going through cancer. You know, what are adaptogens, what are phytonutrients, what minerals should I be having, what zinc does to me, what magnesium will do. Then understand food groups, what is fiber, how will I get my protein intake from, because you lose a lot of muscle mass. So what are the good plant-based protein sources, what are your good calcium resources, what could be your great good carbohydrates, because I was like surviving on breads and wheat and all. So what are the different kind of millets I could replace them from? So all of this took, and literally I took cooking lessons, and I was watching a lot of online tutorials. My mom was with me, and she took a whole sort of a cooking class for completely 8 days to understand how could you cook without oil. And not only that, I changed my utensils from your non-toxic materials, and non all the pans which I was using, which had teflon coating, to stainless steel, to iron, and understand the difference between steaming and sauteing, and different kinds of uh, cooking techniques which I could be using in my food to regain that nutritive values. So all of that was, of course, I took step by step, including good salads, and even including raw foods during cancer. Generally, lot of doctors say no to raw food, but you could use it in a proper way when you wash it properly and everything. So it was like a proper educative process for me to understand all of this. And it interested me, it piqued my interest so much that I started to cook myself, and I loved cooking that time because I knew what was going in my food, in my body, and I made that relationship with food. When you go out, when you eat at restaurants, it's nice, it's tasty, but the kind of energy, your energy goes into your cooking, and it really relishes you, because you don't know what if the cook is really in a stress state and he's cooking from that state of mind. So I realized that I'm just enjoying my food so much. I'm actually, for the first time, made that relationship with cooking and the nutrients. And I knew, okay, this vegetable will taste this way, and the real taste of spices and all of the herbs. So it was a process. It was not a very easy one, but slowly and gradually, when you take one step at a time, you start to enjoy it, and you see the kind of difference in your body in a couple of days. It takes 21 days to change the palate of your mouth. So after 21 days, you form habits, and you also change your taste buds. And then, even if you want to eat sugar, it you don't feel like, because your taste buds have absolutely changed. 21 days, 45 days to 90 days, now I cannot eat that sugary dessert which I used to eat earlier in my life. So that's the difference which you could know. The real sweet taste would be your natural fruits like dates and raisins, and something to do with jaggery or something. But you can't eat that white sugar. I just puke. It makes me puke now. So that's the difference which you see. You also see, there's a very important thing which in our Ayurveda we say that the food becomes your thoughts eventually. So the kind of food you eat, it influences your thoughts, and the thoughts influences your actions. So that much I could correlate, because I started feeling very calm and relaxed into whatever I was doing in my life. I never had so much of anxiety earlier, but now because I was eating food which was nourishing my soul. It was soulful food which was eating. So it made a huge difference in my thoughts and in my reactions, and in the way I think also. So food is not only nutrition for your body, but it's also nutrition for your soul.
Thank you for breaking that. Food, thoughts, reactions. And people kind of always think about that. Like they're always like, Miss Ford is always so energetic, high energy, positive, uplifting, rarely ever upset. And they were like, oh, that's because she doesn't eat a lot of toxic things. She doesn't put a lot of junk in her stuff. She's more plant based, and it's definitely true. I really appreciate you breaking down 21 days to change your palate. If you're still vibing on this conversation, in the comments, drop 21 days. I want you to know that 21 days to really start impacting and changing your palate. It can be done. Thank you for breaking those down, Shruti. First, starting with education. I think education is so important because if you're educated, it gives you a why. It shows you a big picture and it helps you make the decisions over and over and over, and it actually helps build the habits. And so when you're educated on what you're getting from foods, then you're able to use that to better understand, how am I showing up to love myself, care for myself through this decision of what I'm eating mindfully. So I'm really glad that you broke that down and you said, you know what, I have this insight about what my body is going through right now. Let me best educate myself so I can make the best decisions for me, from the cookware to the cooking lessons, from steaming to sauteing, from the right way to clean those raw foods, the good carbs, the energy. I felt you when you talked about the energy that goes into cooking. You just feel a little bit better when you're eating a home cooked meal versus eating food that's outside or prepared. And I'm all for meals that are not prepared by myself and just ready to indulge and eat. But I do can tell a difference. I can tell a difference when I'm eating something that's home cooked, made at home, and you know what's in it versus out. And experiencing things in I guess I don't want to say fast food, but in outside in restaurants and other areas that you could enjoy food. And so I really appreciate you breaking all of that down. It was very insightful. When you talk about we talked about food. Let's talk a little bit more about stress, because so many women are stuck in fight or flight mode without even realizing that they're in it. What does chronic stress actually do to the body, and how did it show up in your life pre-diagnosis?
Oh my God. What a love. I think, when you talked about flight and fight mode, all I could use is I was always like this, just not able to breathe properly. I was always in that state that I'm not breathing, and oh, what's going to happen now? And I was in a fashion I was a fashion designer, and I was running my own store. So I was always quite stressed about what's going to happen, if my master is going to my tailor is going to do this or not, my clients, the finances, everything. Running a store was very difficult, and it obviously took a toll on me. Plus, my relationship with my ex-husband was going sour, and I was going for divorce when I got diagnosed with cancer. So, 2 years, 3 years prior, I got my diagnosis. I was in extreme state. I was not sleeping well. And when you don't sleep well, of course, the stress levels rises up, your hormone imbalances happen. There is a whole cascade of things which are happening if you don't sleep well. And it's a circle. It's a complete circle. If you're stressed, you don't sleep well. If you don't sleep well, you feel stressed. So that's something which, and you need to calm down. Now for me, okay, as in the beginning, when we were having conversation, I was doing all things right. Okay, I was going to the gym, I was exercising, I thought, and but I was putting the wrong things into my mouth, like I was eating out and sugar, and I thought, I'm burning it out, what's the matter, or like, what's the big deal? And I was always, yeah, I was never obese as such, but stress was, when you don't speak up, when you keep emotions to yourself, your body kind of closes up. I feel it just closes up. And as you said, you don't breathe properly, and you're always in the state of that you're hiding something and you're not letting go of, and you feel very um, some burden on yourself, on your heart, on your back. And I felt that burden for a long time. And during cancer, of course, when I understood that stress plays an important role, I said, I always had compartmentalized the brain and the body. I never thought there's a component of the whole body or the whole spirit or the whole body, like connection, mind body soul connection. So for me, that was okay. Oh my God, I was stressed. I realized that I was stressed. And this is actually stress, and it does what it does to you, what it does to your relationships, what it does to your body. So I first was like, what are the, how do I let go of stress? Because everybody is stressed. Like, even if you talk to a small kid, he's also stressed these days, right? No matter what. So how do you let go of stress? So first thing which I always believe is the acceptance that you are going through a hard time. Because generally people say, no, no, I'm very strong and I can go through, and I've been like that since childhood. And let others help you, because you, as human being, we are not built to live alone. We are built to live in a community. We are built to talk about our feelings. That's why we have a voice, and that's why we have a communication style. And when we communicate and when we talk about, whether you want to do a therapy, you want to talk to a friend, you are talking out your feelings and you feel heard. When you feel heard, you feel there is someone in your circle who can understand you, which is a big thing when you're going through cancer. Even if that person is not understanding, even if you're just talking out, you feel relieved, because this burden which you're carrying, it will otherwise weigh you down. So first thing which I realized is to talk out to anyone, like any trusted friend, or even write down your feelings and burn it out or something. When you let go, when you, even if you because you the language, we are talking out in words, we are giving are feeling some words, they're coming out of your mouth, you're realizing that you're speaking it out, and you're giving it away. That's the first way I dealt with it. The second way I think you deal with it is through yoga, through meditation, through any exercises, which, because you kind of balance your hormones, and you, when with breath work, I think it made me realize to live in the moment and to let go. When you breathe in and breathe out, there are certain energy, certain um I, you know exhalations and inhalations you do, which you kind of let go of those. You compress your heart and you decompress your heart, you decompress your lungs and you decompress your, or there's an upsurge of energy which happens, and you let go of that. When you balance your chakras, when you balance your mind with again breath work and all that. So it's a uh, it's an experience, and there is no one way, and there's no one right way. There are different ways of dealing with it. But now with certain, so many research is coming along, every disease has a stress connection, not only cancer, right? Everything has a connection with stress, because it increases inflammation in your body, it increases the cytokines, it increases your, it gives pressure to your heart, it provides inflammation in your brain, it also affects your gut, your digestion system. So everything gets compromised when you have stress, because of that fight and fight mode which you spoke about. So it's a very important factor to uh, think about, where is the stress coming from, and especially when you're going through cancer, to take out some time and really include all these stress management activities.
Yes, ma'am. And I appreciate you going through this, just some of the ways that people can really address stress and being in that fight or flight mode. And I like that you said every disease has a stress connection, whether people are aware of it and realize it or not. And I think that's really powerful and a nugget to drop down. So if you're still vibing with us in this conversation, drop the word stress in the comments for me, if you understand that every disease has a stress connection to it. You said one, acceptance of what you're going through. Two, let others help you. Three, write out your feelings, give it a name, give it words to express it. Four, breath work. And five, meditation. Just 5 ways that you can start right now, today, with identifying how to navigate stress and get out of that fight or flight mode. So there's so much noise online about what works for cancer, Shruti, and this is really your lane because it was something that you got intentional about to help yourself, and now you're able to help others. How do you help your clients personalize their path, especially when everybody's body and journey is different when it comes to cancer?
Yeah, even with cancer, even if I get two breast cancer patients, they could having the same treatment, but their bodies will respond in a totally different way. It's so individualized, and I hope that even cancer treatments now, they are getting individualized, but they help. So the one thing which I actually want to talk about is getting yourself get checked with these advanced tests which are coming, with the genetic cofactors coming in, with the gut test coming in, to understand what's going wrong. There are certain mutations. If you have certain mutations or you don't have certain mutations, there is also, if you are going through conventional treatments, you could also do the chemosensitivity test to understand, are you interacting, how will your body interact with certain drugs in a better way, or certain drugs are actually not for you. So if you do these kind of tests, it will help you in and help your practitioner. Of course they are expensive, but you will understand whether you are going in the right way, and take no guesses, because the more you get guesswork you do, it could be detrimental to a health. You could change the treatment again and again. So why not do these tests beforehand? And now the technology is available, so you should be doing all of these tests. The other thing is that, again, whether you have any form of breast cancer, any stage, or breast cancer, I'm talking about breast cancer because it's breast cancer month, but any form of cancer, you should be changing four key elements which we spoke about. One is your nutrition, second is your lifestyle with regards to your exercise, and if what kind of if you are working out or not, including breath work, including meditation in your daily activity, reducing stress, which is very important, and take care of the environment which you live in. What I mean to say, if you're living in a very toxic, like if you have mold in your house, or if you're living in an area around a river which has a lot of toxicity, if the soil has a lot of toxicity around you, what kind of water are you drinking? You need to change, because we don't have a lot of control on the environment, but we could always test. There are certain things which you could test: your soil, you could test your water, you could test if you have mold or not. Even those things, because we breathe, we the air, the oxygen we take in is very important. It's food for our lungs. So we need to take care of all of these cofactors. So there are four things which majorly all cancer patients should be looking into, apart from the conventional therapies.
And you said it was nutrition, lifestyle, breath work slash meditation, and your environment. Were those the four things?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I got those. So make sure you all are taking notes as well. These are definitely very valuable. Thank you, Shruti. And thank you for talking about those tests that they should be taking too, to make sure they're going in the right direction for their own personalized cancer treatment, necessarily treatment, but more so healing journey, to be with intention. So for someone listening right now, Shruti, who's facing chronic illness or just feeling burnt out, what are 2 to 3 things they can do today to begin moving towards holistic healing?
Number one is, there's so much information on online. Get your resources. I mean, first educate yourself. Secondly, understand that there are, apart from conventional therapies, apart from medication, do you really need, what stage are you at? If you have chronic, say for example somebody has Hashimoto's, just the beginning of it, you don't need to really start on certain medications first. Try and use the natural strategies like herbs and certain other ways of dealing with supplementations and etc. You don't have to get boggled about that, oh my god, what will happen, this and all. uh, First try and do these strategies, and then always take your blood work after every 3 months to understand what's going on. If you have a lot of chronic issues and stuff, just order your blood test, go through your general GP or whatever you are taking care of. trying to work with your practitioner. uh, keep checking your blood work. And the other thing I would say, including sunshine, in you when you ground yourself, when you go out in nature, when you take sunlight, you always decrease inflammation, and any chronic issue starting is the inflammation. So most importantly is to connect with nature, which we most have forgotten about. Just going out and breathing, just going out and walking on the grass, or just taking some sun on our faces. We've just like lathering ourselves with chemicals and sunscreens and stuff, which could be harmful. So obviously changing all of these, I say, chemical world which we are living in, have more natural alternatives, and please stop plastic consumption. That is another thing which is has no direct correlation, but it has an indirect correlation with cancer for sure, because they found cancer, like plastic microplastics in your gut. They've found microplastic in your testes, in your breast tissues, and now even in brain. So make sure that you obviously take care of it by not feeding yourself into it, and also not keeping too much plastic around you.
So y'all, Shruti just gave y'all some extra bonus ones because I only asked for two or three, and she gave y'all five. Educate yourself, identify natural strategies, holistic approaches that you would like to try. Get your blood work done every 3 months. Get some sunshine, some grounding, and then stop the plastic consumption. It's not going to happen overnight, but be more mindful of what containers and things that you're exposing yourself to. So five were the top that she gave you, just so you can start today with beginning to move towards holistic healing. So Shruti, this is the Vitality Sparks round. So you're going to answer real quick to these questions, the first thing that comes to your mind. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, what's one health myth you wish we'd let go of forever?
The estrogen doesn't cause cancer.
What's something small that changed your health in a big way?
Dairy, actually, giving up dairy changed everything for me.
What's one belief that helped you survive cancer, not just physically, but emotionally?
The belief in myself that I can really do it, and the confidence in myself, I guess, that, I am not alone. A lot of people have done it before me, and I can do it as well.
I love it. Complete this sentence. Healing begins when.
You let go.
All right, last two questions. Give some advice for the girl dads, the male role models, the father figures, the partners, the spouses of those dealing with pelvic pain, heavy periods, bloating, fatigue, endometriosis, adenomyosis, polycystic ovary syndrome, fibroids. How could they best be a part of that healing journey, that support system?
Yeah, I think, the first thing is that stop controlling others. Because
Mm,
if somebody is going through cancer, just be a support and do not overpower. A lot of people give, whenever I especially have received this myself when I got cancer, and everybody was behaving as a doctor to me. Do this, do that, do this. Just be there, like just talk to them and be a good listener around people who have diseases first.
I like
Understand.
it. Be a good
Yeah,
listener.
when you have a small opening, then you can have a good conversation. Let the other person be open to have a conversation. And you always have to understand, you can always take the horse to the river, but it's up to him to drink the water and satiate himself. So accept it. If they are ready, they will be healed. If they are not, it's their journey, so let go.
Their journey. Okay. Thank you, Shruti. If you could have a meal with any historical figure, who would it be and what would y'all eat?
Wow. I think I want to have a conversation with Mahatma Gandhi,
Okay.
and it's about non-violence and what was going in his mind when he thought about this movement, and what was inspiring him to go, because it's such a difficult He's the father of our nation, and he did a very, very difficult movement, and there were hundreds of people. So I wanted to know, where did he get inspiration from?
And what would y'all eat?
What?
What would you all eat
What would I eat?
with him? Yep. What would you eat
With
with
him,
him?
he
Like,
was also a vegan, so I think I would eat a very simple, a very simple like meal with him, which would be home cooked and which would satiate both of us.
I love it. So, Shruti, let everybody know where they can find you, how they connect with you.
Yes, so I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Shruti underscore Sethi underscore, and you can also visit my website called www.awana, AWAANAHELTH.com. And yeah, I am all over the internet, so you can find me anywhere.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Shruti, for the amazing experience that you brought today on the Empire Plates, Empire Lives podcast. Y'all, I just want to remind you that when your body whispers, don't wait for it to scream. Shruti's story is proof that you can reclaim your health one breath, one bite, and one brave choice at a time. Y'all, it's your healthy habits and lifestyle coach Jovonnie, host of the Empire Place, Empire Lives podcast. Check the show notes for my upcoming live event. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. But most importantly, thanks for vibing with me, y'all.